describe that last 4 years? How, like, are you game to say what you think?
I think that having Biden steal the election in 2020 was probably the best thing that ever happened to us. We got to see the contrast, and really obvious, and it gave Trump's was a chess champion in his 20s, like Stanley Kubrick, and the chess mind is a completely different kind of mind than other minds. The chess mind is always 10 steps ahead, always thinking what you're going to do 15 steps from now. And so you gave Trump 4 years to actually think about all of this. He's just going to come in like bull you right over. And that's what he's doing. And he's not going to stop. And you're going to start seeing crack-ups on the opposite side now. Because here's the thing, they can't talk to each other. Their phones are tapped. Clearly, the criminal defense attorney is the number one search term in D.C. on Google. Right. So clearly there's criminal activity going on. And a lot of these people were probably told by the people over them, don't worry, no, you're never going to get caught. Just go ahead and do it. And they did it. And now they're like, hey, I'm going to get caught. I'm squealing on you. Yeah. And so now nobody can talk to each other because they're all afraid. Are you an FBI? Or are you watching me and taking down everything I'm saying? And so it's over. I mean, it's basically over. It will be, it'll fall all apart here really soon. And that's part of this military strategy, to create as much chaos. So the enemy is shooting into the woods, and the people they're shooting at left 2 days ago. Right. But so you're just making one mistake after another, and that's what you're seeing. The mistakes will then turn into anger, and then the anger will then turn into complete defeat. And that's where it's headed, and there's no way turning back. Anyone who thinks that it's going to stop is wrong. These people are so far ahead of everybody else that it's just going to be, amazing, actually.
It's already fun to watch. And like you say, like just going back to the chess analogy, like it looks like he's got them all in checkmate. And if they can't move, like now they can't even exercise their communications between each other because it would make it worse. So there's like, it's a compounding effect, and it's very fascinating to see. But going back to what you just said, it goes to anger and then to all of these mistakes and the full surrender. Do you see some type of, I'll call it a visual mainstream acknowledgement of surrender? Right now they're kicking back. They're saying, oh, Elon Musk has big balls and he shouldn't be doing this and he's not running the country, he's not elected. And so there's a little bit of fight back. At what point, like, are you seeing months? Does it take a year to see some serious major capitulations? What do you see?
No, this is going like I would have said, a month ago that this would take a year or 2 years probably, but now, no. The strategy is so brilliant that they're just running over everybody and everything, and nobody knows how to respond. Doge is just bowling over everything. They're going to pull $1 trillion out of the budget. He's going to balance the budget probably in next March, not this coming March, but a year from March. He's going to balance the budget. That's going to throw the 2026 elections into the Republicans' hands because he finally balanced the budget and stopped the spending like a drunken sailor crap. And so this is not a 2-year strategy. This is I would say 8 to 12-year strategy. And it is designed to retake back America. It is, the last time this happened was Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1932. The time before that was Abraham Lincoln in 1860. And the time before that was the Revolutionary War in the 1780s. So every 80 years, right on time, the Uranus orbit happens. It takes 80 years for Uranus to go around one time, and every 80 years we have a gigantic revolution. So the last first turning was 1945, and it's now 2025, so it's exactly 80 years since the last first turning. And now we're in the transition from the fourth turning, which we just are going out of, into the new first turning, which is like a golden age. It's like 1945 to 1965 was a golden age for America. And I was a kid and I lived through it, and it was. This one is also going to be a golden age. And in this golden age, you're not even going to believe what's going to happen. The whole entire federal government is going to be taken over by AI. 90% of the non-military people are going to be gone. And the only people that will be left will be really high-thinking people. And all the rest of the jobs are going to be AI. And then that's going to spread down into the corporate world. And then that's going to spread down into all the state governments and the provincial governments. And then we're going to have a massive unemployment problem. And that's coming like really fast. The most interesting thing about that is that most of the jobs that are about to be lost are women's jobs. They're clerical, they're working in offices and filing and putting things away and organizing things. That's gone. AI will do that right away. So the only jobs that are going to be left are going to be like mechanics, plumbers, engineers, doctors, nurses, carpenters, that kind of thing. And so we're going to see this like weird reversal where the standard traditional household is going to come back. Women aren't going to be able to find work as easily. All of a sudden, the idea of having your husband who's a plumber making good money, working all day, and you stay home and raise the kids is going to become more and more appealing. And women should be find this appealing because you're free from the corporate slavery. That's all feminism really was a surrender of women to the corporate bureaucracy, to the corporate world, to becoming slaves to the corporation. And then they find out that the corporation has no loyalty to you. As soon as you're 55, you're gone. Get out of here. I'm going to hire somebody half as cheap, twice as cheap as you, and 30 years younger. And so the world is rapidly changing, and it's all part of this thing of us moving from the Kali Yuga to the Para Yuga.
Okay, don't go too fast. You're preceding me. Hold on.
Okay. So anyway, that's what's going on, I believe, and the technology also is moving so rapidly that you're not even going to be able to recognize what's going on here really soon. And everything from AI to medical technologies, which are going to actually be able to grow organs inside your body and replace them. And this is all done already. It just hasn't been released yet. Yeah. And I believe that Trump choosing a high-tech CEO to be head of the Navy is very important because a lot of this high technology is being kept secret by the Navy, and I believe they're going to start releasing it through corporations. So it'll look like the pedigree is through the corporation, so the Navy never has to answer the question of why did you hang on to this so long, right? And that's what they're afraid of. So they're going to slowly, not slowly, over the next 4 years, hundreds of new, with quotes, inventions and technologies are going to be released through private corporations that look like they have a pedigree, so that they can explain the thing away. So
and that's where we're going to start to see the free energy devices and all that stuff.
All of it's going to start coming out. It's already coming out.
The dividends of
Rendell has got free energy thing. He's from the Navy.
Right.
Once you start looking into it, it's like, holy crap, what has the Navy been looking into for the last years? And they are the premier.
They were consorting with extraterrestrials, Jay.
They have been, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah. But so I'm really optimistic. I think we're right on the edge of this amazing thing that's about to happen, and we should all, cheer it on. Yeah. And there's a lot of danger too ahead of us, and we have to be worried about that. But if we can hermetically seal off North America from the world and just bring everything home, it could be a pretty good situation.
It's the chrysalis metaphor that Cliff High was using on the Substack, to where we're cocooning in order to retransform. Right, we're in that.
Oh, I hadn't read that. That's nice. I like that.
Yeah, it's a really good Substack, guys. If you haven't seen it. On that note, too, Cliff is in the chat. Everybody's saying hello, and somebody said, "Hey, I can't wait to read Cliff High's new book." The book is out now, guys. The link is on his Twitter. The subject or the title of his new book is Brotherhood of the Afflicted. It's available.
I'm a quarter of the way through it.
It's available now on the Kindle edition. I just bought it yesterday, so I'm looking forward to reading it. He had sent me a few snippets along the way as he was writing it. It sounds absolutely fascinating. So, guys, go check it out. You can find the link on his Twitter, or, of course, you can just type that into Amazon and find that link. Just going back quickly to AI, the big changes. I wanted to bring up this news story here. Elon Musk just the other day, too, again, leading into what you're saying, he's asking all federal public employees to kind of let them know what they've done in the last week. They have 48 hours to give him a report. Otherwise, they're going to get fired. So all those guys who are sitting there twiddling their thumbs for all these years, that's about to come to an end. So it's just another indication here of how fast they're moving. And Trump asked him the other day, he said, Elon Musk's a great guy, but I wish he'd go a little bit harder on what he's already doing. So could you imagine the mainstream news having a fit about that? The other thing you mentioned, which was just interesting, was all these cycles of time of revolutions going back, and you iterated quite a few, but I want to maybe take the larger view of that now and start talking about the yugas of time. This is the bigger, large view. Of course, we're looking at the 24,000 year cycle, and you just did a series, a 3-part series with Sheldon Moore on your YouTube channel. So guys, I invite you to go check that out. Reality Check on YouTube, Alchemy and the Eastern Traditions, part 1, 2, and 3. I'm restarting part 2. I've watched part 1 twice. I took a few slide shots from part 1. I want to talk about this here tonight. A big thank you to Sheldon Moore and his research. I'd love to have him on the show. Fabulous guy, very well learned. It absolutely blew my mind. So I asked Jay, hey, could you come on? Let's start sharing some of this stuff with our audience members. So let's start here, Jay. Explain to the audience member, we've done this, you and I, quite a few times before, but there's new people starting to watch the show. And I want them to understand now that what they're seeing, you just mentioned the smaller iterations or revolutions in these cycles of times on the planet, but really there's something much, much bigger going on. And when Trump says we're entering a golden age, there's much more to that story than meets the eye. So let's start here with the cycles of time, the yugas. Explain the concept of this and where we are now and why you think we are where we are now. Jay.
Well, first of all, I was going to say, Sheldon and I have a slight disagreement on what creates the Yuga system. He thinks that we're in a trinary orbit and that we have a brown dwarf pulling on us, and that when it comes closer, we go into the golden age. When it pulls out, we go into the dark age. I believe that actually it's the oscillation of the solar system going up and down through the edge of the galaxy. And when we come to the position where we're right in the middle of the plate of the material of the plane of the galaxy, that's the Kali Yuga, because the etheric energies coming from the center of the galaxy are